Okay. Okay, I would like to call the April 1st, 2026 Kenai City Council meeting to order. If you're able, please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Petty,
Here.
Councilmember Cassena,
Here.
Councilmember Sonar,
Here.
Mayor Naxted,
Here.
Councilmember Daniel,
Here.
Councilmember Grimmy,
Here.
Vice Mayor Askin,
Here.
Student Representative Bowling.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. So that brings us to approval of the agenda and consent agenda. Pleasure of council. Vice Mayor Askin.
I move that we approve the agenda and consent agenda as presented and request unanimous consent.
I'll second that.
Okay, are there any additions or revisions to the agenda or consent agenda from council? Would the clerk please read the consent agenda items into the record?
Thank you, Mayor Naxted. Approval of the regular meeting minutes of March 18th, 2026, brought to you by the city clerk. Approval of the special meeting minutes of March 25th, 2026, brought to you by the city clerk. Action approval, bills to be ratified, brought to you by the administration. Action approval, authorizing a memorandum of agreement with Greatland Consulting and Training LLC for the use of the Alaska Regional Fire Training Facility, brought to you by the administration. Introduction of ordinance number 3511-2026, accepting and appropriating funds from the Institute of Museum and Library Services passed through the State of Alaska Department of Education and Early Development, Division of Library, Archives, and Museums for library employee training, brought to you by the administration. Public hearing scheduled for April 22nd, 2026, and introduction of ordinance number 3512-2026, amending the Kenai Municipal Code, Chapter 7.22, Investments of Monies to broaden the range of permitted investments and extend the maturity profile of the city investment portfolio, brought to you by the administration with a public hearing scheduled for April 22nd, 2026, and that is your consent agenda.
Okay, thank you for that. Are there any public comments on any of the consent agenda items just read to us by the clerk? Seeing no one, are there unanimous consent was requested? Are there any objections? Hearing and seeing none, the agenda and consent agenda are approved. Next, what I'd like to do is I do have two proclamations to do this evening. Very pleased to do that. And we have Ashley Blanchford here from the Lee Shore Center, and I'd like to present that one first. So Ashley, if you want to step forward, I'll come around. Ashley and I have done this a few times before.
My last one, so you gotta make it big, sir.
Well, let me get my glasses so I can read it more clearly. Well, the last one for a while, maybe.
For a little while, yep.
Everything is- Whereas sexual assault is an intolerable, violent crime with public health limitations for every person on the Kenai Peninsula, and no one person, organization, agency, or community can eliminate sexual assault alone. And whereas sexual violence prevention can be better addressed through education, counseling, support of victims and survivors, and increased support for service agencies in collaboration with the Lee Shore Center. And whereas the Lee Shore Center, its staff and volunteers work year-round to address sexual assault by providing 24-hour crisis services, offering support to those impacted by sexual assault, and providing prevention, education, and survivor empowerment information to schools, churches, and civic organizations, as well as to medical, mental health, law enforcement, education, and criminal justice personnel. And whereas the Lee Shore Center continues to develop and improve the quality of service for those most profoundly and directly impacted by sexual violence. Now, therefore, I, Henry Naxted, Mayor of the City of Kenai, Alaska, do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Thank you. Thank you for
Yes, sir.
everything you do down there.
Thank you guys for your continued support. We are greatly appreciative.
Right? You can come a little closer if you like. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Very impressed with you.
Thank you.
I just need to figure out how to get this open. Mr. Cole. Whereas Aiden Cole, an 8th grade student at Kenai Middle School, demonstrated exceptional academic achievement and composure in representing the Kenai community at the Alaska State Spelling Bee, and whereas the Alaska State Spelling Bee brought together students from across the state ranging from 2nd through 8th grade to compete in a rigorous day-long academic competition testing spelling, vocabulary, and critical thinking skills. And whereas Aiden Cole advanced through multiple rounds of competition, exhibiting dedication, focus, and perseverance in a challenging and highly competitive environment. And whereas Aiden Cole secured victory by correctly spelling the word Frasonical, earning the title of Alaska State Spelling Bee Champion. And whereas this achievement qualifies Aiden Cole to represent the state of Alaska at the prestigious Scripps National Spelling Bee in Washington, D.C., bringing recognition to the city of Kenai and inspiring students throughout the community. And whereas Aiden Cole's accomplishment reflects the importance of education, the support of teachers and families, and the value of hard work and intellectual curiosity. Now, therefore, I, Henry Nackstead, Mayor of the City of Kenai, hereby recognize and commend Aiden Cole for his outstanding achievement in winning the Alaska State Spelling Bee and representing the Kenai community with excellence. Thank you very much, Kate. Get a hug here.
Hold on.
Hey,
Hold on.
you got to get more. Dad's here. There you go. That wasn't all, Ken. He also, I'm going to ask your dad right in front of you, but then he came in 4th place and that brings us to scheduled administrative reports. We have K&A Design Studios Principal Architect Chris Parker here to talk with us tonight about the Public Safety Building and Challenger Center design. Is he online? Here. Oh, there you are. Welcome, Chris.
All right. Well, we've got, thanks for having me. We've got a couple more options to look at for the police and fire and dispatch. We took a look at previously the Challenger Learning Center, as well as we've got some options on the existing building to go over as well. Yeah, so we have just a few slides to go over. Hopefully it won't take too long, and we can answer any questions you guys have. So the next slide, please. Oh, I've got the clicker. So this is the existing fire and police station as well as dispatch. The facility was built in '73. The fire department right now currently takes about 14,000 square feet. It's got 6 bays, multiple sleeping rooms. We can kind of go over any questions you have there. The police station has roughly 9,500 square feet. So the total facility is roughly 23,000 square feet. We've kind of went over this building a little bit as far as the age, what's needed, that type of thing. I could definitely answer any questions if anybody wasn't here. But a lot of the systems are, reaching its end of life. The building, HVAC wise we need a lot of new fresh air, that type of thing. The systems need to be expanded, as well as some of the utilities, that type of thing. So we've looked at different options. Our first option here is if the police department took over the entire facility and went with the renovation. We would basically utilize the apparatus bays to park the police cars, have evidence storage. We could basically utilize the full station, not have to add on to anything, but it would be a pretty intensive renovation cost. Right now, we're looking at, with the asbestos that's in the facility, needing to basically rework everything, new flooring, new ceilings, new systems, new roof. We're looking at a total of 17.6 million to do that renovation. And that would be displacing the fire station. So we've got options here that say the fire station moves over to the Challenger Center. It would be both of those renovations would need to happen at the same time. So the next.
Chris, there was a cost for the existing building too, I think you had in there. Did you not?
Right.
If we kept, the slide before, if we didn't.
So this slide here?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, this slide is just showing kind of, over here on the left, the fire department resides currently. So this is kind of an existing condition slide. And on the right, we've got the police. So just showing the amount of area that's currently been taking place. After going through all of our programming efforts, it's apparent that both entities need new space. They've been in this kind of facility roughly 50 years. Greater needs for each facility. So that's the existing. We don't really have any costs on this sheet. We do have a sheet that lays out like if someone else utilized the facility that doesn't need such an intense renovation, more like, just move in ready, and not taking account. I'll get to that slide, but.
Sorry to interrupt. I was
lighter
thinking it
duty.
was here. I'm having a hard time pulling it up on my screen.
Okay.
It's space intensive on my computer.
Yeah.
So
There are a lot of graphics on this one, so, yeah. So that's, let's see, we've basically got two options for the existing, or three options for the existing facility. The first option here is the police, renovating it for the police station. The second option is renovating for the fire station. This option does add a bay, a new apparatus bay. The rest of it is the facility would be renovated for the fire station. No other additions would be needed. There would definitely be some pretty intense renovations, like adding the training room on the end. We might have to take a roof off, kind of extend the walls. There's going to be needing some pretty big renovations with this approach due to the building's height, essentially. So this clocks in at 19.5 million to do this renovation. And these are just kind of really rough order of magnitude cost, being that there's no true design yet for the facility. So this is just a conceptual look at things right now. So the costs are definitely going to change as if an option is picked and the design is developed. The next option here is kind of that lighter duty option that I talked about, where the facility can be used. It's used right now, but our first two options are pretty intense renovations, taking care of the hazmat that's there, and taking care of all the mechanical systems. This option would only be taking care of the existing roof, doing light duty on some of the mechanical systems to make sure that they're going to keep on working, but not getting into any hazmat and not, doing any big upgrades to serve a police or fire. This would be more like office work, just utilize the existing offices, not moving walls and that kind of thing. So we utilized like $150 a square foot for the renovations within the non-apparatus bays. The apparatus bay right now would work for, storage, equipment storage and that kind of thing. So that clocks in at, roughly $4 million for that. We had the roof at 1.4 and the interior renovations at 2 million. So this is an option if both entities moved out and the city wanted to move other people into this facility. And then we've got the Challenger Center that we've kind of previously talked about a little bit. This shows, Challenger Center location, as well as, we touched on it last time, some of the traffic patterns that are there that might need to be changed, modified. And we've got some input on that from the both fire and police chiefs as well. So the existing facility for the Challenger Center, we've got a plan for you here, showing some comments. Like I touched on last time, it's a great building, really well built. It's got higher ceilings and that kind of thing, allowing us to expand it easily. It's still got a good HVAC system, good boilers. The design is more organic, so it's not as easy to plug and play, moving offices and that type of thing, but the bones and shell of the building are good. It's built with, masonry and steel. It's a steel construction as far as the inner workings of the building as well. So it's a good building there. It's going to be there for a while. We've taken a couple options on this as well. This first option is if the police station was moved over. I touched on last time the square footage wise of this building being, let's see, what was it? Yeah, 19,600, so 19,600 square feet. We don't need that much area for the police station, but we would need to add on some of the bays and evidence storage that are not currently easily modified for the existing structure. So it'd probably easier to build on or add on those structures than to tear apart the existing structure. So we've added on the bays for the police cars, the squad cars, and a wash bay, evidence bay, and a little bit of support there. So this comes in renovation cost at like 7.8 million, roughly $8 million. And then it leaves these two white areas, or two tenant spaces, that you could, have any other entity in there. Those clock in at roughly 3,000 square feet and 1,500 square feet. So you could have a neighboring tenant that uses its own entrance as well. So we've got a secure parking over here for the police as well. So the second option is having the police move over. Same type of thing. We'd want to add these apparatus bays. Again, they need more height, that type of thing, which that current building does not have. The Challenger Center does not have that kind of height to house those different pieces of apparatus. But we use this orientation just to show you two different sides. The police, we want to show you if you did want to utilize this side, but we put the fire station on this side, which allows you to kind of exit out through Rogers Road, which I think is more advantageous. You can kind of control that area. If you wanted to, you might want to put a light out here if this option does get developed, at least safety lights, that type of thing, to own that intersection, make it a safer ingress and egress for the apparatus, the response team. Yeah, so this option was clocked in at 10.8 million to relocate the fire. And then we had one last option, which is basically moving both entities over there as well as the dispatch. This would require some addition. This hatched area on both sides indicates that addition to the existing Challenger Center. This is a lot for that site. It kind of bleeds off, as you can see, from the property line. There's a lot going on there, yeah. But it's doable. It just would just take some addition and reworking, site-wise. I would think you'd probably want to, it'd also address, ingress coming through, there'd be some site work as far as ingress and egress out of the site itself as well as onto the spur highway. So this option clocks in at roughly $18 million for the combined relocation and would leave the existing fire and police station vacant. So, but that's that option that we showed you as well. So, yeah, any questions on that?
Any questions of Mr. Parker? Councilman Daniel?
Thank you, Manaxted. Looking at these, and I know these numbers are rough, not, very rough numbers. The cost difference, though, I'm curious, to put both here, it's looking, around 18 million, but just to renovate one for either or the other, and on the old facility was coming in around that dollar amount as well. Is it just because of the asbestos, or what is that big cost driver?
Yeah, so my apologies. So we got a few different costs that we're looking at. The most expensive building to renovate is going to be the existing facility, that fire station, because of having asbestos in it. The building's older, it's 73, so a lot of the pipes, a lot of the system pipes, water and sewer and all that are going to need to be replaced. So it would be a full demo. A lot of it would involve demo as well as renovation. So a lot of reworking within that structure. So it costs more to tear it apart and put it back together versus the Challenger Center. The roof's not going to be taken apart. It's got plenty of vertical height already, good ductwork. It's just manipulating that stuff versus gutting the whole thing. There's possibility of raising walls to accommodate more ductwork and that kind of thing. So, yeah. And then the third option that we talked about, just kind of a as is, move in as is for a similar use like office work and that kind of thing. That's not addressing, we would not be dealing with the hazmat any more than we'd have to. So kind of three different, I'm sorry, it's kind of confusing that way, but three different uses.
If I may, Paul. So that's just more if we made the old facility an office space, I'm sorry, it's more just sprucing it up. We're not getting into the whole remodel.
Right.
Okay, and that makes sense. So I was just trying to figure out where those numbers are coming from.
Yeah.
And I know we're not talking about this, but there's another design that was, I can't remember what the price was, like 40 million or something for the public safety building, a whole remodel.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, roughly 30, I think.
Or 30,
Yep.
excuse me, I couldn't remember the dollar amount was. Can you, and that was a whole net new, correct?
Correct.
Yes, okay, that was the difference. And I apologize, I missed some of that presentation, so.
No problem.
Okay, so that makes sense. I was just trying to figure out where the numbers are coming from, why this was this versus that. So,
Right.
And that was net new, billed by the airport.
Yeah, that could be built anywhere type
Okay.
of thing, but that's all new. The nice advantage with that, there's no phasing, with a few of these options, there's gonna be phasing, right? You gotta move somebody out of a building, renovate a portion of it, move them again, that type of thing, if you're utilizing that existing facility versus if you build all new, both emergency facilities can keep working as is and then move them when the building's done, so. But there's costs with all that as well, so.
Councilmember Casana.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Do you guys use a metric or a number to estimate that indirect cost of lost production or anything like that for moving tenants back and forth during renovations?
Do we use a cost for that?
Or apply some sort of cost estimate to what it would be?
We don't necessarily account for typically like the movement of, the moving cost per se.
Sorry, I should clarify that. I
Yeah.
asked that poorly.
No problem.
Is there an estimate, let's say we were going to do a renovation where the police department was kind of shuffled around periodically until the full renovation is done? Are there any estimates on what kind of cost impact that is? So not necessarily just the moving cost of them moving from one building to another, but I'm still not asking it well. I realize that, but,
That's all kind of part of that renovation, right?
okay.
Sorry. Renovations are always the most expensive option. And part of it is phasing that's required, right? You got to make that space, say you move an entity from point A to point B, you've got, that point B has to be able to accommodate them, and sometimes that space won't. So you've got to spruce that space up first to be able to accommodate it. So yes, that's all kind of part of this. Yeah. And once the design's picked, we'll be able to, people can elaborate on that and more accurately portray it.
Thanks for figuring out how to answer that bad
No
question.
problem, no problem. It's a great question.
Councilmember Petty.
Yes, with these renovations, regardless of which one was chosen, would they have the state-of-the-art technology and implementation of the best in the realm of where we are right now?
Yes.
Is that taking that into consideration?
And that's why some of those renovation costs are pretty high, is if we're going to do this, we plugged in a pretty big number to, if you need to raise walls and raise a roof and, do that kind of thing, that's kind of accounted for with these kind of higher costs, so, yeah. Each option, we would want to make sure it's a, 50 to 100-year lifespan for that facility, except for the one that's a kind of a move-in ready for that office environment, at lower cost.
So if it was a new move-in ready option, what would the lifespan estimate be on that opportunity?
We try to design for at least 100 years, yeah. For, for the square footage for the facility that lasts for 100 years, so, yeah.
We have a comment from Acting City Manager Fry.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add, administration's been having several conversations on this project with Chris here, and so it's obviously, these numbers are pretty rough at this point, because a lot of it's fairly, open-ended as to what we want to do. I think some of the discussions we've been having is possibly talking further about doing some specific site assessments with the Challenger Center. Like Chris said, if you move somebody over here, there's potentially, we're looking at installing a street light or something like that so that we have site control if, fire needs to fly out of there in a hurry. We want to make sure that traffic stops. So those add other layers of cost to the project, as well as just general site access. If we're looking at constructing over here, we've got the high school right there next door that we're now adding different traffic over there. Is that flow going to work where the entrance is on the right side of the picture there? So we're potentially looking at doing some further site assessments for each of these sites, and possibly looking at ways to refine these estimates so they can help us drive some better decision-making. But we felt it was important to kind of get this in front of you and at least, show what the options are at the Challenger Center and what that might look like, and showing that it is a viable solution for the city, as it is a good building, like Chris said, with good infrastructure there for us to expand off of.
Councilmember Casana.
Thank you. Lee, would the site assessment factor in potentially rerouting traffic and building different access to the Kenai multipurpose facility, knowing that it's a high-use building, full parking lot, often with minors in the parking lot or young drivers? Would there be a cost associated with renovating that space to still be functional and safe?
Yes, thank you. I think that's one of the things that we want to look at, and that was a concern that was brought up by the fire and the police chiefs was, the site access and different things going on over there with the high school and the MPF over there, and just, there is a lot of traffic at various hours, and we want to make sure that we're not hampering that traffic or causing issues by adding a different access point to it. So that's definitely something that we want to look at, because that's obviously going to build into the total cost of the project, depending if we have to redo a lot of entrances and parking lots.
Councilmember Greemy?
In addition to young drivers, I would say we also need to consider the location, and that police and fire vehicles coming in and out are not quiet. They're often doing that, high rates of speed. I think we need to be very aware of what's already there, and if this would or would not be a good fit. But I did have a question for you as well. The existing building, old, asbestos especially, was mentioned. Was there any, and often with renovations, we're kind of forcing a round peg into a square hole. We're trying to make something be something it's not. Was there consideration given to, really demolishing that building and starting from the ground up? And I know that wasn't listed in here, so I don't expect you to maybe give numbers, but just from how would that fit in the grand scheme of these numbers, of these options that you did present?
Yeah, we definitely looked into that. We looked at probably 8 options, I think, early on. And we looked at a combined, building the combined facility, and that clocked in roughly at $30 million. And that's, like you're saying, you don't have to deal with full demo and that kind of thing, and as well as phasing. Your existing facilities can keep working while that's being built. So we looked at a few of those different options as far as not utilizing the Challenger Center and building a new, combined station, building 2 separate stations, building just one new station and renovating the existing. So there's quite a few options out there. I think we've kind of ran through them a bit with Lee as well. So if you would like to look at any of those, just let me know. We can shoot those over to you as well. Yeah.
Vice Mayor Askin?
Thank you, Mayor Nexted. Has there been any consideration given to the Beacon building and the fact they already have fire training there, that it could become a fire department easily?
Do you want to take that?
That might be a Fry question.
Thank you. We did not look at that building with K&A Designs. I'd say the driver for what we were doing here was to investigate the Challenger Center as that facility came open, and we were getting inquiries from other interest from places that were interested in renting that facility and using it, or purchasing, leasing, various options. So I know we were trying to drive and see if that was an interest for us to use it for this purpose prior to seeking proposals from other entities. And I think Manager Eubank could speak to that further when he's back.
Thank you.
Any further questions, Mr. Parker? Councilmember Daniel?
Thank you, Mayor Nexted. Timelines, I know it's all super rough, but if we were to build new versus remodel the old facility versus remodel the Challenger, rough timelines on any ideas?
Yeah, so design usually takes, it's going to take a couple of years, so but by the time you go through your design phases and then construction, it would take, I would think, at least 2 years to have it moving ready. Just rough numbers.
For any of those options there, like one would be like, this would be much faster versus another one, or is it pretty much all 2 years, give or take, is?
Probably the fastest option I would think is new. It's going to be faster to design and faster to build. But it kind of depends on which option. Other than that, new is probably going to be the fastest.
Yes, sir. With the new option, has a location been discussed?
We've talked about quite a few locations within the city, city property that the city owns, but there hasn't been anything that's selected.
So those locations are not yet disclosed? Is that what you're helping me understand?
Well, we haven't, Lee could probably speak to this as well, but nothing's been selected as far as that. There's been recommendations and that kind of thing, but
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Acting City Manager Fry?
It was mostly looking at just acreage for how big of a site we would need and what possible parcels might fit that we kind of looked at the initial assessment. But it, by no means was it, anything selected at that point. It was just more of a process of seeing how big of a piece of land we would need if we were going to build a new building.
Do you know how much acreage you're looking at? If the ideal selection, I mean, if you could do the best of the best, what would it be?
The best of the best. Roughly when we design different fire training and emergency centers, between 5 and 10 acres is what, if there's any training involved on site, we try to have that. You could definitely shoehorn and get a facility into smaller acreage like we did in Soldotna. But ideally, that 2 to 5 acres is ideal for one entity.
So with this new facility, is that a combined fire and police opportunity together?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Circling back to the existing city safety building, and I think Councilmember Grammy kind of touched on a little bit, is the demolishing cost. And since you looked at evaluations, one would be to demolish, we're going to move it. Now we've got a used police and fire station, and its utility is, well, we'll have to get down the road on that one, but it might be to demolish the whole thing or a portion of it. Are there numbers associated with that you could share with us?
These options, our first couple options here described we kind of cooked that into the option, like in the fire station, we've got a $19.5 million remodel there, which would definitely afford us to demolish portions of it and rebuild, that type of thing. So we've got a healthy budget for that, which I think it was, let's see, what did we put in? Yeah, $900 a square foot. So that's going to allow us to demolish if we need to and rebuild, or renovate in place and, extend walls, that type of thing, so.
Okay, any further questions? Seeing none, thank you very much for your presentation.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, guys.
Next, we have scheduled public comments, and we have none, so that brings us down to unscheduled public comments. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak on any item not appearing on the agenda? Okay, you come forward and state your name and generally what area you live in. How you go?
My name's Doug Heyman, and I live in Kasilof, and I work in Soldotna, but I want to be in Kenai. And you probably have already guessed by the vest I'm wearing, I work for Connections. Although I am not officially representing the school district in any way tonight, other than I'm in charge of a program which is the largest by far. And I tease SoHi administrators a little bit by kind of that Alaska, Texas joke. If you cut Connections in half, you'd have still, SoHi would be the third largest. That's not quite true, but if you put Kenai High School and Soldotna High School together, Connections would be bigger. So we by far are the biggest, but we still only represent 1 in 7 students in the peninsula. That's, when you have 42 schools, 1 in 7, that's a fairly large program. But what I'm here to plant a seed on tonight is not just Connections. It's the entire homeschool community. I'd like to rebrand the entire concept of our homeschool community and where everyone on the Kenai Peninsula who is homeschooled is in one organization. Yes, it would be under the Kenai Peninsula School District, but I would want to pull in and all of the homeschoolers and design a program that fits their needs exactly. It would be a hybrid program. Now, of course, I don't have, in 3 minutes or whatever I've got going on here, a minute and a half left, I can't tell you all there is to do about it, but it would be a hybrid. And I would like to also pull in the CTE program because, and I do apologize that I came in and he did a great presentation on the Challenger Center because that's what we need. And that's what the Challenger Center was designed for. It was designed for education. And as far as raising walls and redoing anything, we don't need any of that. What we do is if it became part of the borough would have to be, the official owner of it. I guess you guys would have to work that out, and thank God I don't deal with that part of it. But if the borough owned that building, and then whatever safety things needed to be done would need to be done. I mean, we can't just walk in there, but if those things, let's just pretend for a second there's no asbestos, and with my pickup and trailer, I could be in there performing our duties on next Monday. It's that well-designed. And you might be wondering why, because we're in the back of a warehouse right now, and we serve 1,355 students right now. And how do you do that? Well, because we got 13 people crammed into one little room, and we do it well. But what we could do more for our community, the reason that the other homeschool students would be drawn to us, because we would have the best dang thing for our kids here on the community, on the peninsula, that you could possibly imagine. It would be a hybrid, so the funding thing, and I'd love to give you a whole long presentation about funding, but nobody really wants to hear about numbers anyway, but about program, about what gets kids ready to leave the house. I'm not in the business of preparing students to live in their parents' basement the rest of their life. We want to support every family with their values, but get kids ready for the world. And with the CTE program, and imagine, if I get a little excited, and I apologize, I've run out of time already, but imagine if you were in my shoes and you could neighbor right next to a great high school that has a great CTE program and shop and all these things, and we could draw in those other 1,500 kids on the best storefront that doesn't need a new road or stoplight.
You're going to
So,
need to be.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
I wanted you to know that I was
appreciated the
interested
additional
in the building.
information. Would you be willing to stand for any questions? And could I have your name one more time?
I would be
didn't-
very willing, and I'd also be willing, if you were curious, to come back at a later time with more information.
What was your name again?
My name is Doug Heyman.
Doug Haven, thank you. Do we have any questions?
Yeah,
for
I'd be
Mr.
glad to answer questions, or if you want me to come back,
City
that'd be great
Council
too.
Member Petty.
Excuse me, sir. I do not know what the acronym CTE stands for.
Career Technical Education.
Thank you so very much. Yes, and that's so valuable.
Yeah, that's those folks that are, like, part of that group went up to Anchorage and competed at Skills USA and so forth. It's those kids, the welders, the carpenters, all kinds of kids.
You might speak with our city clerk and get on our presentation for a scheduled report, and those are, gives you more time.
I'd be
So,
delighted to, thank you.
thank you.
Councilmember Casena.
Yeah, thank you. Doug, thanks for being here. Thanks for pitching this.
My pleasure.
For those who don't know, could you maybe describe the space you are currently in? It sounds like back of warehouse, which
It is the
I've
back
had
of
the
the
pleasure of
warehouse.
seeing this back of the warehouse, but
It's not even a square room. It's literally kind of what got carved out of the back of the Kenai Borough warehouse. And we've got 6 desks that go around kind of in a horseshoe, and I have one little office so I can close the door if I need to have a private meeting and so forth. And every one of our advisors, which are certified teachers, work with a caseload of, currently their average is 150. We have some of our advisors that have 180. We are very cost-effective form of education, just to even put that little bit, but that's not what it's about. We're about the best education.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you taking your time.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak to any item not appearing on our agenda? Seeing none, that brings us down to public hearings. First public hearing before us tonight is ordinance 3509, 2026, increasing estimated revenues and appropriations in the general fund legislative department to provide matching funds for a grant in the amount of $10,380 to the Alaska Children's Institute for the Performing Arts, doing business as Triumphant Theater for parking lot pavement and landscaping improvement, brought to us by administration. By pleasure of council, Vice Mayor Askin.
I move that we enact ordinance 3509-2026.
I will second that.
Okay, moved and seconded. Is there anybody from the general public that would like to speak to ordinance 3509, 2026? Looks like we have someone. Are you going to need a little hand with that microphone? I knew you could do it, and you could turn it on too. Okay, if you want to state your name, please.
My name is Briar Odin.
Okay, go ahead.
Good evening. It's good to see you all again. I would like to thank you for considering this grant. Triumvirate is a beloved part of our community thanks to support like yours. Joe is unable to be here, but don't worry, I ate some ice cream for him. Yeah, he sent me with a letter to read on his behalf. Members of the City Council, thank you for considering Triumvirate Theater's request for funds to complete the landscaping of our new Performing Arts Center here in the heart of Kenai. The Richard and Diane Block Foundation of Anchorage is standing by to send Triumvirate Theater a check for $40,000 to complete the paving of our facility if our request is approved by the city tonight. These two combined grants will help a great deal in sustaining the day-to-day operations that serve kids in Kenai year-round. On the behalf of the children of Kenai, I express my most sincere gratitude for your consideration of this funding. Sincerely, Joe Rizzo, Executive Director, Triumvirate Theater.
Well, thank you for that. Would you be willing to stand for a question or two? Council
Yeah.
has any? Council? Councilmember Casena.
No questions. I just want to thank you again for showing up, and I think Joe made a wise decision to make you his ambassador.
He certainly did, and your presentation was very good, very right on, and did you practice a lot at the theater? Has that given you some of the help? You're just naturally this way?
Well, Joe just gave my mom something, he emailed it to her and she printed it out for me. I didn't really practice it at all. I read through it one time.
Tell how many plays you've been in.
4. This is my 4th one and I'm also on the 5th one too.
Well, there you go. I think that probably helped an awful lot. Councilmember Petty.
Yes, when will your next performance be so that we could all attend?
I'm in 2 plays right now. The one is, there's one this weekend. It's Elephant and Piggy. So we are in a play, and then, so that's this weekend, and then the weekend after that, and maybe the weekend after that. And then, on April 17th, there is the anniversary show, which I am also in. And so, yeah, that's the dates.
Thank you.
That's
You're
just the
welcome.
beginning of your career.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Do I have
Is
to
it-
hit the button to
Yeah,
turn it off?
it'll turn itself off. It has a habit of doing that. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to ordinance 3509, 2026? Okay, seeing no one, I'll bring it back to council. Council? Councilmember Petty.
Yes, I will be in support of this ordinance. I think it's a great way to support our community and the children in our community, to provide ample opportunity for safety, education, and performance. So I am 100% wholeheartedly in support of this. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Well, I'm definitely in support of this too. And, the city of Kenai does support its youth here in town, the Boys and Girls Club. It's something we do every year too. It's in our budget. We also do a storefront improvement. This is not exactly that, but kind of, and it's a little bigger, but it's along those lines. But it supports our community and that brand new beautiful facility that you have over there. So anyway, I'm completely in support of this. Is there any other discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Casena?
Oh, do we have some?
I just
Sorry,
had a comment. Thank you,
Go
Mayor.
ahead.
Even though the ordinance is written with the term matching funds, I find it very encouraging that by spending the $10,380, the matching funds from the other entity is really 4 times that amount. So the other entity is putting forth about 40,000. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but about 40,000 to our contribution of 10,000. I think that's a great investment for a matching fund. So I'm definitely in support of this.
It's almost making money. Okay, any further discussion? I'll wait this time. Okay, seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Casena?
Yes.
Councilmember Sonart?
Yes.
Mayor Nakstad?
Yes.
Councilmember Daniel?
Yes.
Councilmember Grimmy?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Askin?
Yes.
Councilmember Petty?
Yes.
Student Representative Bowling?
Yes.
You have 7 yes votes. Ordinance number 3509-2026 is enacted.
Okay, thank you. That brings us now to item E2, ordinance 3510, 2026, amending the official zoning map by rezoning the property at 10060 Kenai Spur Highway from conservation to suburban residential zoning district, brought to us by administration. And ordinance number 3510, 2026, substitute, amending the official zoning map by resolution of a portion of property at 10060 Kenai Spur Highway from conservation to suburban. Pleasure of council. Well, first off, I want to point out that we've already moved this, we've already introduced it. So what we're actually going to do is put it up for another public hearing. And then the request is from administration is to postpone until May 6th. Next meeting, that gives planning and zoning some time. So having said that, we'll back up just a little bit. If there's anyone from the general public that would like to speak to ordinance 3510, Madam Clerk? Do we have to enact it? Okay, I'm moving, motion to enact, Council, Vice Mayor Askin.
I move that we enact ordinance 3510-2026.
I will second that.
Thank you. Now we're ready for, is there anybody for the general public that would like to speak to either ordinance 3510, 2026 or 3510-26 substitute? Okay. Seeing no one, that brings us back to council. Vice Mayor Askin.
I move we postpone ordinance number 3510-2026 to the May 6, 2026 City Council meeting.
I will second that.
Can we request unanimous consent?
Okay, unanimous consent was requested. Are there any objections? Okay, seeing no objections, the motion passes, and we will see this back on May 6, 2026. Now we're on item E3, Resolution 2026-17, authorizing a contract award for the 2026 water treatment pump house construction, brought to us by administration. Vice Mayor Askin.
I move that we adopt resolution number 2026-17.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Is there anybody from the general public that would like to speak to Resolution 2026-17? Do we have anyone online? Anyone here? Seeing no one else, no one, that brings us back to council. Council discussion. Acting City Manager Fry, you want to give us the specifics on this one?
Thank you, Mayor Nakstad. So this was the bids for our pump house water treatment project. We had a successful bid for this project. We received 4 bids. UIC Construction was our low bid at the cost of $3,022,200. We've discussed this project a couple times before. It's the construction of a new pump house over at our water treatment plant. It'll also be putting in a backup generator, putting in some water mains to help with some supply issues, doing some pressure tanks, as well as some electronic gate access at our facility. This project is funded by $2.7 million of grant funds that we received through the state, and the rest is funded through utility funds. Available for any questions.
Councilmember Petty.
Yes. Can you tell me where the UIC Construction Company is from, please?
I believe they're a statewide company, but they do have an office here on the Kenai Peninsula.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Fry, did you point out what the engineer's estimate was on this that we had before?
I did not. The engineer's estimate for the project was approximately $4 million, so we received very competitive bids on this project.
Request unanimous consent.
Any further questions? Unanimous consent was requested. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Resolution 2026-17 is adopted. So that brings us down to item H5, discussion action, scheduling a budget work session brought to us by administration. I think there was a date suggested in May. So Acting City Manager Fry, would you please?
Thank you, Mayor Naxted. I'll let Finance Director Swarner speak to this.
Mr. Mayor, what we have recommended here is for May 2nd to be the meeting. So this is our annual budget work session that we usually carve out a Saturday to do, and it's kind of an all-day event where we have all the department heads show up to present their budgets to council and for council to discuss and go over the budget. And so we will have that prepared for council by April 17th. So we thought we'd give you a couple of weeks to have the opportunity to review and go over the budget. And then the kind of the dates we have are April 25th, May 2nd, and May 9th, and we would request, or we've recommended May 2nd.
Okay, thank you very much. Does May 2nd kind of work for most of us anyway? Looking for nods. Okay, there's 3, 4. I'm nodding yes. It kind of works into the, into the schedule for. Also, remember, Grammy, you're still looking at your calendar, it looks like, so.
It's fine. It's the lesser of two evils, so the second will work.
Okay, that's kind of it. So it looks like we have a majority okay then, just looking around. We don't need a motion on this, just a nod, correct? So May 2nd it is. Did you have a question?
What time, I missed the time that we might kick it off on that.
Well, it's going to be all day, so from 9 to 5?
Sometimes people start at 8,
Well, I start at 7. They never want to do that here. Anyway, it's a very educational thing for those of you that have only done it once or not done it at all. So that brings us down to commission reports. We have Council on Aging, Vice Mayor Askin.
We did not have a meeting. Our next meeting is April 9th.
Okay, Airport Commission, Councilmember Sonart.
Thank you, Mayor Naxted. Our next meeting is Thursday, April 9th, next week, I think, but I just read it was canceled due to lack of agenda items.
Parks and Recreation Commission, Grammy.
Our next meeting is tomorrow.
And then next, Planning and Zoning Commission, Councilmember Daniel. One of the two of you.
Councilman-member Daniel and I will switch in May, I believe, so I've got it. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make it in person because we had a special meeting. But the commission reviewed a recommendation to conditionally approve a vacation for a preliminary plat in the Black Gold Estates off of, it's not called the Prison Road. Wildwood. I believe it was initially a split vote 2-2 with a final vote 3-1 in favor. As a note, this is one that we reviewed last year at council and voted against. There was some different information presented in this meeting, so I suspect that'll come back to us at some point in the future.
Okay, thank you for the report. Beautification Commission, Councilmember Petty.
Yes, our next planned meeting is April the 14th. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So that brings us to the report of the mayor. I just have a few things to report. I know that the local pool here has been, it's on the council's mind, and we're looking to try to keep that open if we can, and that was a general direction. And this, on March 23rd, myself, city manager, Eubank, and student rep Boiling met in Peter Machicki's office with other mayors and city managers. And that was our second meeting to discuss it. And I think what we can expect is a memo of how we might be able to move forward coming from the city manager's office. But I kind of wanted to not get into the weeds too much, but the numbers that we've been provided, all of the different cities, they seem to be variable and they don't seem to kind of balance necessarily. There seem to be some general frustration. So hopefully we can work our way through that and get to a point where we'll have something to bring back to council to consider, some kind of a partnership too. So we'll wait for city manager Eubank to come back and give us something on that. March 26th, I attended the March for Meals fundraiser at the Senior Center. Wanted to do a shout out to Kathy and everybody that did a really wonderful job down there. And I know they spent a lot of time and effort on that. And I did buy a chocolate cake there. I wanted to donate it back, but my wife wouldn't let me. So we're working our way through that. And it's wonderful, a German chocolate cake. And if you ever look up what German chocolate is, I thought it was from Germany. It's a guy named German that invented it. So tonight's trivia, but it's true. But anyway, it's a wonderful cake, and somebody in this room actually baked it too. So I don't know who that might have been. But then the next night, I did another fundraiser. I guess it's a season. Hospice of the Central Peninsula had a fundraiser, and that was fun, and got through that. The next couple of things I have here, I wanted to thank administration and Lee here in particular for the draft City of Kenai street design. That's been a long time coming, long before you were here, and did have a chance to review it a bit, and it looks very good. And I know that you're looking for review comments. That's probably in your report, so if you want to go into more detail. Two more things. Next, on April 8th, which is, I think, next Wednesday, the clerk and I will be on sound off at 10 o'clock, or the 10 o'clock hour, to talk about elections. So I offered this up, and just in case there's some confusion out there, I figured Shelley can square everybody up on what's going on, and I'm there for emergency backup. And she also asked me to remind all of you that our next scheduled meeting that would have been April 15th will be actually April 22nd. We kind of kicked that back because of the elections. So that's the end of my report. So that brings us down to administration reports. Acting City Manager Fry.
Thank you, Mayor Naxted. So on the staffing and recruitment front, the city received notice from our lead equipment operator for the streets department, Kurt Brower. So he'll be retiring. He's provided 11 years of service to the city, so we thank him, and I especially thank him for being a part of my team. We are pleased to welcome Gracie Davis as a dispatcher with the police department beginning in April. And we currently have recruitment underway for a police officer, a part-time janitor, and our seasonal positions. On the airport side, the SCADSD grant application, the request for proposals for the Small Community Air Service Development Grant Program has been released with applications due May 4th. Administration's working with the airport's consultant on a second application to support direct service from Kenai Peninsula to Seattle, Tacoma area. And we're also reaching out to legislative delegations in peninsula communities to build letters of support for that project. As Mayor Nackstead said, the road standards are currently out. We've released the draft design standards for the streets. They're available on our website under the Public Works Department. We're also hosting an open house on Monday, April 3rd here in Chambers. That'll be from 5:30 to 7:30. We've sent that out to contractors and engineers in the area to review as well. And following public input on that, we'll be potentially scheduling that for future adoption by City Council. With the prolonged winter we're having a lot of freezing water services throughout town. We are encouraging residents that have had freezing issues in the past to keep a trickle of water. We recommend a number 2 size pencil of water coming out of your faucet to keep it from freezing. And also note that even if it gets warm outside, the frost continues to drive a little deeper even as it warms up outside. So we do recommend keeping your water running here for a little bit longer, even as our warming temperatures go to let that frost thaw out down below, or services can freeze up. Hydrant flushing, we're hoping will take place starting in April. If we get a little more breakup here and we can actually get to the point where we can flush hydrants, could go into May, but April is expected. If residents notice any discoloration in their water at that time, just please run the water until it goes clear. There's no health issues with the water at that time, it's just some color in it. And we'll be posting that on the radio as well. As Mayor Nax had mentioned, we do have the pool discussions ongoing, and upcoming events with the City of Kenai are the annual State of the City presentation taking place at April 15th in the Chamber Luncheon, and the city's annual Easter egg hunt will be held this Saturday at Municipal Park. Thank you.
Okay, any questions of Mr. Fry? They're looking off easy. Now we have City Attorney Bloom.
Thank you, Mayor Nackstead, members of council. I don't have anything to report, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Mr. Bloom? Okay. City Clerk Sainer.
Thank you, Mayor Nackstead. I just want to remind everybody and everybody listening to this that we are in the middle of a special election. Absentee voting is taking place Monday through Friday right now, 8:30 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. The special election date is April 14th, 2026. Polling locations are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. We have 3 polling locations. Kenai 1 and 3 are in the Kenai Mall. I've been here a while. And Challenger Learning Center is where our Kenai number 2 voters are voting. So, and the clerk's office is open for questions. Absentee by mail applications can still be sent in, and we look forward to a good voter turnout.
Thank you. Any questions of the city clerk? That brings us to additional public comments. Are there any members of the public who would like to address the council at this time? Danielle, please state your name and generally where you live, what area.
Hello, my name is Danielle Lopez-Dom. I live in Soldotna, but I work here in Kenai, and I'm representing the Kenai Chamber of Commerce today, just with our general schedule that's coming up. We have our First Friday Artist Series happening this Friday. On the 12th, we have the Kenai Historical Society meeting where Mayor Nackstead will be there presenting. We also have our luncheon on the 15th with the City of Kenai. The 16th, we have our Kenai Chronicles Beyond the exhibit with Clark Fair presenting. And the 17th, we have our free family movie night. So, thank you. Are there any questions?
Any questions of Danielle? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lots going on over there. And I'm glad I didn't believe all the posts today on Facebook. Somebody has a humor in there. Is there any other members of the public that would like to speak to the council at this time? Okay, seeing no one, that brings us down to council comments. Student Rep Bowling.
Good evening, Mayor Naxton and council members. Happy April Fools. Congratulations to Bradley Morrison for his first place win in the Skills USA 2026 competition. Bradley placed first in Division I stick and MIG welding and third for TIG welding. Bradley will continue on to represent KPBSD and Alaska at the National Skills USA Championship in Atlanta, Georgia in June. I'd also like to thank Mr. Hartman, one of the peninsula's top CTE teachers, for his dedication to helping develop our workforce's next generation. Congratulations as well to both our boys and girls basketball teams on their strong performances at the 3A state tournament. Boys basketball took third place and girls basketball took fourth. KCHS cheerleading also took fourth in halftime and sixth overall in the state. Also, I'd like to congratulate Aiden Cole. I have no clue what that word means, and I couldn't spell it for my life. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Councilmember Petty.
Yes, I would like to echo congratulations for Aiden Cole, and I too have the same thought process. I don't know what it means, and I don't know how to spell it either, but I am going to get my dictionary out and look it up. And want to wish him the best of luck going to DC to represent our state. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Daniel.
I was for you jumping around now. Short and sweet. Don't forget to vote, as the clerk said, very important. And enjoy this nice weather we're having. I'm looking forward to all the white stuff going away.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Askin.
Thank you, Mayor Nexted. I attended the Meals on Wheels fundraiser also, and I don't know how much money we raised, but it was a lot. I think the top pie was like $2,200. So,
I think it was $25.50.
was it? Okay, $25.50. And I also attended hospice, and congratulations to our students on all their outstanding achievements. That's great.
Councilmember Grammy.
Want to remind everybody to vote. Make sure you're informed before you're voting, and if you don't vote, don't complain.
If it only worked that way. Thank you. Councilmember Cassana.
Not too much other than to congratulate the Kenai students for all their accomplishments. I think it's cool to get not just sports, but CTE and academics, so take that, Soldana. Also, just I have some folks watching at home that I'm sure will appreciate this. Congratulations to the 12U KPHA girls team for their win at state this year. They became the first all-girls team to win the co-ed state tournament this year. And I think the other cool part is I think they have the most women coaches as well. So they have 4 coaches and 3 of them are also women. So just a pretty cool deal. So congratulations to them and all their hard work. And yeah, wish them luck next week at the ponytail tournament.
Okay, that brings us down to executive session. And we have 3 topics we're going to be talking about. Councilmember Sonard, what happened?
Mr. Mayor, I missed one meeting and now I'm like invisible.
You fell off my, you know, okay.
Obviously.
You're redeemed.
So I just want to say, since I wasn't at the last meeting, I was traveling, but I did attend the employee appreciation dinner and I enjoyed it very much. Although I will say it was quite crowded, which the silver lining to that means it was very well attended and very well appreciated. So that was good. I do want to remind everybody to please get out and vote. Events like this are usually decided by a very small margin. And what it is will be what it is, and we have to all live with it. And if you don't vote, like she said, you don't have a right to complain. So that's it. Enjoy the weather.
Thank you, and sorry I missed you there. Now we have an executive session item, and actually it's for three, so I have to read all three, so bear with me. Number one, review and discuss the city attorney's evaluation, which may be a subject that tends to prejudice the reputation and character of the city attorney per AS 4462-310C2. And review and discuss the city manager's evaluation, which may be a subject that tends to prejudice the reputation and character of the city manager per AS 4462-310C2. And review and discussion of the city clerk's evaluation, which may be a subject that tends to prejudice the reputation and character of the city clerk per AS 4462-310C2. Pleasure of council. Vice Mayor Askin.
I move to enter into executive session to review and discuss the annual evaluations of the city attorney, city manager, and city clerk, which may be a subject that tends to prejudice the reputation and character of the city attorney, city manager, and city clerk, according to statute 44.62.310C2. Mr. Bloom, Mr. Eubank, and Ms. Sainer have elected to have the discussion take place in executive session. The executive session will include Mayor Nagstead and city council members, and request unanimous consent.
I'll second.
Okay, is there any objection to unanimous consent? Seeing none, we will move into executive session.